Your gourmet patty stack, sir. Oh, thank you very much. Of course. All right. Oh, excuse me. All right, first up on our hit parade of patriotic purchasing, or rather purchasing, is Starbucks. Yes, Starbucks. The ubiquitous green mermaid, purveyor of pumpkin spice lattes and names misspelled with an almost artistic flair. Now, Canadians, like many, enjoy a good cup of coffee. It's practically a national necessity, especially during those winters that make Hoth look like a tropical paradise. But when those tariffs hit, suddenly that venti caramel macchiato started tasting a little too American. The sentiment was clear. Why send our hard-earned Canadian dollars south of the border to a corporate giant when local coffee shops, the ones run by our neighbors, the ones that know your name and your order, and spell it correctly mostly, were right there? It was less an organized campaign with picket signs and more a collective, you know what, I think I'll try that little place on the corner today, and then again the next day, and the day after that. It was the quietest, most polite revolution you've ever seen. Next up we have General Motors. Yes, GM, an icon of American manufacturing, a company whose vehicles have been a staple on North American roads for, well, seemingly forever. But when Trump's tariffs hit Canadian steel and aluminum key components in, Canadians looked at their Chevy Silverados and GMC Sierras with a newfound skepticism. It was like finding out your favorite uncle was secretly a tax auditor for the very people taxing you unfairly. Awkward. The logic was pretty straightforward. If Canadian metals were being unfairly targeted, why would Canadians line up to buy cars made by a flagship American company, potentially using those very metals, or at least profiting while Canadian industry suffered? It was a classic case of you scratch my back, I'll scratch yours. But if you try to gouge my eyes out with tariffs, I'm taking my car buying business elsewhere, buddy. And they did. Oh, they did. All right, let's talk about something a little sweeter, or rather something that has become a little less sweet for one particular American giant, Coca-Cola. Yes, Coke. The iconic red and white script, the taste of 1,000 childhood summers, the beverage that seemingly sponsors everything from the Olympics to your local hot dog eating contest. It's a brand that has become synonymous with American culture and global influence. But in 2025 Canada, even a titan like Coca-Cola wasn't immune to the tariff tantrum fallout. The shelves that once overflowed with the fizzy drink were now conspicuously bare, a stark contrast to the usual abundance. Now you might be thinking, boycotting Coke? That's like boycotting air or disappointment? It's hard to imagine a world where people turn their backs on such a ubiquitous product. And you wouldn't be entirely wrong about its ubiquity. Coca-Cola has been a staple in households, vending machines, and store shelves for decades. But the logic, once again, was simple. In a time of economic tension and national pride, consumers were making a statement with their wallets. Coca-Cola is arguably one of the most recognizable American brands on the planet. Its presence is felt in nearly every corner of the globe, making it a prime target for those looking to make a point. If you want to make a statement about American economic policies, what's a more visible target than the big red machine itself? Choosing not to buy Coke was a way for Canadians to voice their discontent. It's like punching Captain America. If Captain America was a fizzy drink that might contribute to diabetes, the symbolism was powerful and resonated with many. The boycott wasn't necessarily about the ingredients of Coke being tariffed. It was about the symbolism. It was a way to push back against what many saw as unfair economic practices. It was about choosing to support local businesses and products. To hand over your toonies and loonies to a quintessential American corporation when Canadian businesses were feeling the squeeze just didn't sit right with many, so they turned to local craft sodas and other alternatives, making a statement with every sip. Our next stop on this tour of consumer consciousness is a big one. A really big one. We're talking about Walmart, the retail Goliath, the purveyor of everything from tube socks to tubas, often at prices that make you wonder if they've accidentally forgotten a zero. Walmart has become a household name, synonymous with convenience and affordability. Walmart, with its vast American footprint and its reputation for, shall we say, aggressive business practices, became an obvious and very large target for Canadian consumer discontent. Its dominance in the market has often overshadowed smaller, local businesses. When the tariffs hit, the thought process for many Canadians was, why should we funnel our money into the coffers of a massive American retailer known for squeezing suppliers when our own Canadian retailers and local businesses are struggling with these new economic pressures? The sentiment was clear: support local, sustain local. It was a question of solidarity, a collective decision to stand by their fellow Canadians in times of economic uncertainty. Do you support the behemoth from Bentonville, or do you rally around your homegrown stores, the ones that might actually pay a bit more local tax? The choice was more than just about where to shop. It was about where to invest their money and trust. The boycott against Walmart wasn't about a specific product like coffee or cars. It was about the entire shopping experience. It was about making a statement with every purchase. It was about consciously choosing to go to Canadian Tire for your hardware, a store that has been a staple in Canadian communities for decades. Loblaws or Sobeys for your groceries, where the produce is fresh and the service is familiar, or that independent bookstore for your next read, even if it meant spending a few extra dollars or an extra 10 minutes in transit. These choices were about more than just convenience. They were about preserving the character and economy of their communities. It was a deliberate inconvenience undertaken for a principle that resonated deeply with many Canadians who saw their spending power as a tool for change. By choosing local, they were choosing to invest in their own future, ensuring that their communities thrived in the face of global economic challenges. And now for number 5, the one I promised would be a doozy. We're talking about Harley-Davidson. Yes, Harley-Davidson. More than just motorcycles, Harley-Davidson is an icon of American freedom, rebellion, and the open road. It's a brand so deeply intertwined with American identity that criticizing it feels like criticizing apple pie or bald eagles, or the right to own an unnecessarily large firearm. Which is precisely why its boycott by Canadian bikers was so potent and so emotional. When Trump's tariffs were announced, and particularly when retaliatory tariffs from other countries started to impact American exports like Harley-Davidson motorcycles, Canadian Harley owners and prospective buyers found themselves in a deeply uncomfortable hog tie. See what I did there? Hog, Harley Owners Group. I'll be here all week. They loved their bikes, they loved the culture, but they also loved their country, which was now in an economic scrap with Harley's homeland. The boycott wasn't about the quality of the bikes or the thrill of the ride. It was a gut-wrenching, symbolic protest. Woo! What a wild ride through the most interesting economic rebellion in recent memory. We've seen how the power of the consumer can shake the very foundations of commerce and politics. Hey, if you enjoyed this roller coaster story of Canadian clapbacks, cross-border drama, and ordinary people wielding extraordinary power through their purchasing decisions, don't forget to smash that like button and show some love for grassroots movements. It's amazing how a simple act of choosing where to spend your money can ripple out to create significant change. It really does help the channel, and it validates my decision to spend hours researching Canadian consumer angst, which, let me tell you, is a surprisingly deep well. The stories of everyday heroes standing up for their beliefs through their wallets are both inspiring and humbling. Hit subscribe if you want more stories about how regular folks are shaping the world in unexpected ways, often with nothing more than their shopping lists and a healthy dose of righteous indignation. Share your own stories of principled purchasing. Maybe you boycotted something I didn't even mention. Your experiences can inspire others to think more critically about their own buying habits. Thanks for watching this deep dive into modern activism, where the protest signs are receipts, or lack thereof, and the battleground is the checkout aisle.